Hi everybody, welcome. Welcome to this video titled Connecting Microsoft Excel with Business Central as part of the pre-sales workshop. My name is Craig Kreskis and I am a partner solution architect here at Microsoft, and I just want to say thank you for being a part of this video series and just learning more about what you can do with Business Central as a pre-sales engineer. Again, this video I'm going to focus on just all the things that you can do to highlight the capabilities of Excel. We know that financial end users, accountants, bookkeepers all have the affinity of connecting and using Excel and rely on it. So how can we expose that and show the tight integration with Business Central in Microsoft Excel? I'm going to show you how to get this started by installing the add-in, and then I'll show you some of the capabilities, whether it's editing in Excel, you can open in Excel, some of the simplest things you could highlight with doing copy and paste. And then I'll spend a bulk of our time in this video around the Excel report layout. So let's get started. I'm going to start by just making sure that you have in your demo environment the Excel add-in. There's a couple of things that you need to do to set that up. I would always encourage you to go to docs.microsoft.com, do a search on the add-in for Excel. And you can see here I've highlighted where this will link you out to the Office store in AppSource. It brings in the Dynamics Office add-in, and then just go ahead and get it now. So that's the icon of what the application looks like. You'll hit get it now. And this is also why, if you went back to the opening video on how to create a trial tenant, it's so important for me to be an admin user for this tenant so I can have access to the admin center. I'll choose next, hit next, and then I'll finish the deployment. And now you can see here in a matter of moments that status is set to OK. And let's go ahead and look at Outlook, and you can see I have deployed the Outlook Office add-in. So pretty straightforward. From there, you can launch Excel, and you notice I have the log in, log out because I want to log out of my corporate identification and I want to use my demo account. So I have Excel here. I'll click on my name and I'll log out, and I'll put in that demo user that I've been using for my Business Central presentations. I select next, I put in the password, and then you could see that it's authenticated. And that's an important small feature because you do want to highlight that not everybody has the opportunity to move data back and forth from Business Central into Excel. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those capabilities. Now that I have that connected and configured correctly, I can go into a list page. So for example, I'll go into the customer lists, pretty small list, and you'll notice on the far right side where I have my cursor highlighted is you can hit the share button, and I'm going to start with edit in Excel, and I'll open that file. Now if it's the first time you're logging in, notice we logged into the Excel experience, but I now have to make sure that I have access to the data. So you're going to sign in again with that admin user. And so here you'll see now I'm logged into both. And the way I know that it's successful is I've got these menu options. Here's the data. This is again, that customer list. I can scroll over to the right, and we don't put in phone numbers for that sample data, but imagine, one of the tasks that you have as a consultant is to get a large amount of data into Business Central. Well, I could use Excel to perform that task and make it simple. Here you can see I'll put in the phone numbers. So I put in a bunch of fictitious phone numbers. And with the add-in, on the right side, I hit publish. It takes a few minutes. You notice that it says it's successful. If I minimize Excel and I go out to the customer card, notice now that the phone number has been populated. And you could scroll to the right to see again for the same customer that I have a phone number, mobile number. So it's a small example or a small sample set because I only put in some phone numbers, but you can imagine how unwieldy that might be for an accountant who's doing massive amounts of data and they just want to stay in Excel and then import that into Business Central. So I just showed you a really simple way of doing that by using the customer contacts. Now, the sales line items, or any line item, I shouldn't say it's limited to sales. If I open up sales quotes, and let's go with a quote we built earlier, and that is here, on my line items, you'll see here I have that same familiar icon called the share button. And so I could edit in Excel, and you could see here that I have those two line items. The add-in opened up on the right-hand side. And then you just need to stay inside of the table because that's what the add-in is looking for. So you could insert a row, enter in some data. So I got line item 30,000, got my quote. I put in an item there. I can scroll over to the right and put in some more information. Once you're ready, you can see I hit publish. It brings it over, and then I go ahead and minimize it. And now that additional line item, that Athens desk I just put in, has come onto the line item. So that's how you can use the Edit Excel on the line items. Now, one thing I do sometimes in the live workshops when I'm with partners, I always like to give you a little bit of activity or exercise. Again, maybe not something you'll read about on how to, but if you have this report up and running, that means that I have the connection, the data connector still live, I'm still logged in. You can design a report. So I'm just going to go ahead and here and add a table. You can see all of the entities or the data sources that I have access to. I'll scroll down to my sales cube. I know I sound dated. I didn't say sales cube. I said sales dashboard. And you'll see here I can go ahead and hit next. And then all of the fields that are available to me. So I can start to drag and drop, put that down into the selected fields. I could do the same for the name, the sales amount. Hit that. And now I want to expand the entity options. And so if you want this report to refresh every time it's published, I'll go ahead and select that. So when I open that up, depending on where I store this report, every time I open it, it's going to go out and look for the updated data. And basically, I've created a refreshable Excel report. So I'll make sure that's enabled. I'll choose done. I'll select yes and done. And then I refresh the page. And now you see the data that I put in here, the sales rep, the city of the customer, the name, and their sales amount. And now it just becomes a function of what you like to do in Excel. I like to hold down my control key, select a few columns, and maybe let Excel recommend a chart for me. And then I always like to change it a little bit. So again, from here, I could save that to a SharePoint site or wherever I want to deploy these reports. Depending on the credentials, it'll allow me to go and refresh that report. Next is the open in Excel. Here I am in that same customer list. This time, instead of just on the share button, I'm just going to do open in Excel. And it's really straightforward. It just takes static data and puts it into an Excel format. And then I choose what I want to do with that information. So far, we've done edit Excel. We've done open in Excel. Let's talk about copy and paste. And no form of technology that impresses me more is taking a large list of data from a website, right? I'm in a web browser inside of a native application called Business Central, and I'm going to open up posted sales invoices. So you can see here I've got a long list of items here. I can go ahead and select that, and I'm going to select more, and I'll select all, right? So it's basically a Control A, select all, and then I hit Control C. And try to do that in another browser that's not Business Central, and you'll get a much different experience. And that's why this is impressive, and I think it's important for pre-sales folks to highlight that as a financial professional, I'm working with my accounting data, and it's nice that I could just hit Control C. And then as you see, my rows have been copied. I'm going to hit Alt-Tab, and I'm coming over to Excel. And I'm just going to go ahead and paste that with Control plus the V key. And now you see that data has been brought over. So again, you may say, Craig, that's not an impressive demo. But when you present to financial end users, these are the areas, these small features that have a great impact and is a way for you to highlight the Control C and the Control V. The last part of this is going to be the Excel report layouts. And there continues to be such a massive investment on helping end users design and create the Excel reports and the layouts that end users want. And again, as I've done in other videos, I always want to make sure you have supporting documentation. If this video doesn't give you all the details that you want, you can go out to docs.microsoft.com and learn more about the Excel layouts. Now, there are a few things that you need to know or consider when you're going to start creating or making changes to the Excel layouts. Every Excel layout must include at least two elements: a data sheet You can see here I've highlighted that, and a data table. These elements from the basis of the layout by defining the business data from Business Central that you can work with. So you can think of the data sheet as kind of a contract, right, between the layout in the business data, and then you'll use that data as the source of calculations and visualizations that you want to present on other sheets. Again, hopefully that gives you some information, and there's also a supporting document here on the GitHub repository for you to grab additional layouts. So let's talk about this and just start it through the use of a demo. I'm in Business Central here, and you can see here I am under the Excel reports, and some of these, the time of this recording, are still in preview, but I grab the aged accounts receivable, aged AR, and I go ahead and hit download, and I open up that file and hit enable editing. And here you can see that Excel report layout that comes with Business Central. And then I could filter on, let's say, for example, the medium businesses, and my data is extracting. Now, I always want to show you, too, kind of a little bit behind the scenes or behind the curtain. If you right-click on that tab and you select Unhide, you can see all of the sheets that are part of this report design. Go ahead and hit minimize. And let's go ahead and just grab the top customer list. Here, we'll change it from 10 to 5. Same thing, I'm going to go ahead and download that, and it opens up to my downloads folder. And now you can see I have my reports in Excel. So that's just some ways in which you could demo and infuse that into your presentation. Now, let's go ahead and download that report, and I'll show you some other features that you can do as well. So again, Alt-Q, I'm going to search on the customer sales list. And from here, you can see I'm grabbing this RDLC file, and I'm going to just bring in the Excel document data only. We'll open that file, and I'm going to select the table and to design the table here, and then analyze the data. So I'm just starting to highlight things that you can take advantage of that are just native to Excel, right? To be able to discover insights. Scrolling down here, you can see where I can insert. So Excel is giving me analysis, but also give me the option to insert a pivot chart. And as I scroll down here, you can see, again, I've got a lot more tiles that are part of that analysis. Now, if you want to go even further, as you are probably familiar with Copilot and how it's been infused with all aspects of business applications, as well as our productivity tools, if I save this file, so I'll do a save as here, I'm going to go ahead and save it to my OneDrive. Once I save a file to OneDrive, I can then take advantage of the Copilot capabilities. So here on the right side, I'm going to hit Copilot, and there are some prompt in the prompt guide to help me understand, or I can just start to ask questions of the data. So for example, I could say, what is the total sales? And I obviously have a typo of a datum and tray. And I hit OK, and it gives me that information. Of course, look, I could add this to a new sheet. I could scroll down, and I can see some of the pre-built suggested topics that I'm having a conversation with Copilot in Excel. And you can see here when I selected on the percentage, it gave me that percentage. I could type again, what are the total sales coming from my Atlanta customers? And now you can see I'm getting information here. So not part of anything you might read, but again, I always trying to think about how we can further enhance our demonstration capabilities. I mean, you're in Excel, take advantage of the Excel capabilities and Copilot. I want to upload that just like we've done in a previous video within Microsoft Word in the Word forms. So I could hit search, go for report layout, and I'm going to go search on that customer sales list. And I'll hit a new. So it brings me the report name and the ID, but I'm going to give it a different layout. In this case here, again, sales list BC in a day of this pre-sales workshop. I'll select OK. I'll drag or drop or import that file I just updated, and I run the report. And when I download it, it's going to bring in any changes. In this case here, I had inserted that chart. So there's a lot of capabilities and things that are relevant to your customers and prospects Some of the ones that I have built inside of the demo playbook is going to be in the sales manager and in the accountant role. I encourage you again to explore those and see how I demonstrate it and see how you can incorporate that into your live demos. So here again, we install the add-in for Excel. We perform some demos around Edit Excel, Open Excel, copy and paste, and then of course you saw the report layouts, the Analyze, and Copilot. I want to say thank you so much for your time and participation in watching this video and improving your demo techniques on how you can connect Microsoft Excel with Business Central. Again, my name is Craig, and I look forward to seeing you again on a video real soon.